Blessings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good overnight, whatever it may be across this wonderful world where you are at. I am the one and only Mr. LP Stephen Sykes of Enliven Global Media. And I hope everybody's enjoying themselves in this warm weather or rainy or wherever it may be for you across the world. So I thank you very much for joining us. Today, we're going to have a very important topic and we're going to have some very good guests joining us today. And I'm looking forward to everybody to join in and have some fun with it today. And also, hopefully, can offer some great support. Today, we're having a very good topic about money, the Black Bank, $2 trillion, and so much more. We will also have a couple of special guests. Ross Silk may be able to join us today. And then if not, don't worry, we'll show her love and let her know that she's loved, and we're going to get her here. Also, Shy Love, Miss Barnett, Miss James, all our other great co-hosts. We appreciate you all. And also Miss Walston. So here's the thing. The title of the show is 2 trillion and nothing to show for it. But to be honest with you, I believe it's way more than 2 trillion, but we're going to stick with what we do have in terms of numbers. $2 trillion. You know, let's let that sit in. Let that sit for a second. $2 trillion. That's what Black America spends every single year. We move markets. We set the trend on a whole new world of copies and copycats and everything else. We carry the spending strength of a top 10 economy on this planet alone. And we have nothing, and I do believe nothing, to show for it in general. Now, I don't want you touching that remote, hitting your mouse or keyboard to switch the channel or go to something else. Don't do that. Because I didn't come here to rub your backs. I didn't come here to play nice and tell you a fairy tale. I can't do that. I came here because I love you and I care too much to lie to you. You know, as I was going through challenges for my health or other things, I'm telling you the truth, and I'm going to tell you the truth now. But here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The average white family in this country is sitting on about $285,000 in wealth. The average black family, $44,000, $900, basically $45,000. And that's not because we don't work. It's not because we don't grind. It's because the money hits our hands on Friday and is gone by Monday. It goes to folks that don't even know our name, don't live in your block, don't live down the street, maybe even in your own city or even in the state, and don't lose 1 minute of sleep thinking about your children. Yes, that is true. And we are the most powerful consumers in America. We move the markets and the power, but we are the lowest in terms of ownership. Does that sound correct to you? We're the most powerful consumers, but we don't own anything as a whole. We spend like royalty, and then we like someone told us a change came off yesterday, and and we just got the key and never knew what it was about. We just go crazy. We become hoodwitch and just spend, spend, spend. Things like that is just wrong, and we can do better. But family, look at me now. I did not come here to bury us. And don't think about that. I came here to wake us up. I came here to tell the truth. Our tagline is we tell the truth. Because that same $2 trillion that's been building everybody else's kingdom, that's the same $2 trillion that can build our own. And the power was never missing. It was just pointed in the wrong direction. And please, this is not a hate game on any culture or anybody else. It's not. It's about fixing culture. Heck, some of the other cultures out there could possibly use this same information to help build yourselves. It can also help build your individual families, a lot of different things. I'm just addressing this today towards our Black community as a whole. But tonight, we need to turn it around through my voice and so many other voices out there, where our money really goes, what a 90-day collective can actually do, and how we can stop being a consumer and start being an owner. So I want everybody to pull up their chairs, hit you up, and do what we need to do because class is in session. Okay? So we're going to hit that up. But I want to play with y'all a video about Black families and wealth and banking and things like that. And we're going to address it a little bit later as well. But I want to hit this up and play this and let you see what you think.
Most families in America go to banks when they need money, but for many Black families, the bank has never been a partner. They denied our grandparents' mortgages. They redlined our neighborhoods. They gave us higher interest rates. They financed everyone else's future, while we had to fight just to qualify. So what happens? We keep going back, asking permission for money that should already be circulating inside our own families. Car loans, business loans, emergency money, college tuition, home down payments. Every time we borrow from a bank, wealth leaves our family and goes into someone else's pocket. Interest payments, late fees, loan fees, penalties, all draining our future. But wealthy families do something different. They don't depend on banks, they build family banks. A family bank means your family becomes the lender. Your family becomes the investor. Your family becomes the institution. Instead of paying interest to corporations, you pay interest back into your own bloodline. And over time, that money multiplies across generations. This is how families build real wealth, not with one paycheck, not with one investor, but with a system. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a family bank from scratch. Part 1. The problem. Banks profit from our need for money. That's the structure. When capital isn't controlled inside the family, we rent it from institutions. And renting money is expensive. Credit barriers, predatory lending, higher rates. The wealth gap isn't just about income. It's about who owns the bank. If we don't control the flow of capital, we stay dependent on it. Part 2. What is a family bank? A family bank is a pool of money owned collectively and used to fund homes, businesses, emergencies, investments, and education. The Rothschilds have a family bank. The Rockefellers have a family bank. The Waltons have a family bank. We need family banks too. Wealth begins small, but it grows disciplined. Part 3. Basic structure. Step 1. Start the fund. 5 people contributing $50 per month equals $250 per month. 10 people contributing $100 per month equals $1,000 per month. That's $12,000 a year. Capital is built by retention. A family bank begins the moment money stops leaving automatically. Step 2. Create rules. No rules equals no family bank. Who can borrow? What interest rate is charged? What are the repayment terms? What qualifies as emergency access? Structure protects relationships. Clarity protects trust. Step 3. Keep it separate. Treat your family bank like a real institution. Open a separate account. Track contributions. Keep written records. Discipline turns savings into strategy. Step 4. Lending rules. This is where the power begins. If someone borrows $5,000 and pays back $5,500, that $500 stays inside the family. Interest no longer leaves. It multiplies internally. Instead of enriching corporations, your family enriches itself. That is what makes a family bank transformational. Part 4. The power. Let's look at the numbers. Year 1, $12,000 saved. Year 5, $60,000 plus. Year 10, $120,000 plus. Most families could build a 6-figure family bank within 10 years. And once that capital exists, it funds down payments, business startups, investment opportunities. Instead of asking permission, your family makes decisions. That is financial authority. Part 5. Advanced strategy. The wealthy insure themselves. The poor insure their cars. Adding cash value life insurance strengthens a family bank. Policies grow over time. You can borrow against them. The capital continues compounding while being used. Then invest. Index funds, real estate, dividend stocks. A family bank must grow because stagnant capital loses purchasing power. Most families leave their children bills. Some families leave houses. But the families that change history leave institutions. A family bank is more than money. It's protection, it's opportunity, it's independence. It's making sure the next generation never has to start from zero. And the truth is, no bank is coming to save us. We have to build our own systems. We have to finance our own future. We have to become the bank. If you want to learn exactly how to build a real family bank step by step, I wrote a complete blueprint that walks you through how to start your family bank. Most families in
Sorry about that. Yes, and today I happen to have, along with the great guests, hope everybody enjoyed the video. Thank you, by the way. But today I have a wonderful guest, a wonderful family member, one of the richest Black men in the world, and owns a whole bunch of different things, but a wonderful podcast and a great man. Please check out his podcast. I'll let you. I'm not deserving enough to sit there and describe what he does in his podcast because it's great, tremendous. I'll let him speak for himself on that one. Please allow me to welcome to you the head of editor of Insight News, Mr. Al McFarland. How are you doing today, sir?
I am great, and thank you for having me on, cousin.
Now I'm doing all right, cousin, things like that. How's the world treating you up in Minnesota? They didn't chase you down. The FBI is not calling you an immigrant and then chasing you down up there.
Well, life is going to always be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And we're up for the challenge. We're here for the fight. And so
Amen.
I always answer that question by saying, how am I treating Minnesota? How am I treating Minnesota? Not how it's treating me.
And there you go. There you go. Now, for those who don't know, before we get into it, tell us a little bit about Insight News.
I own a community newspaper. It's a Black newspaper. Insight News. I started it as a magazine in 1974. I worked for a printing company that printed a number of trade magazines like Twin City Tool and Die Journal, like Purchasing Management Digest, etc. I sold printing, and I also operated the Midwest Public Relations Division of that company. I asked my boss to let me start a magazine, full-color, glossy, for my neighborhood. I lived then where I live now in North Minneapolis, the heart of the Black community. He allowed me to start it. We published it for a year. I bought the rights, went to work as a janitor at night in one of the suburban communities. Used my daytime, knocking on doors, selling at
Excuse me, sir. Apologies. The last, I'm not sure you can hear me. The last couple of parts we did not hear. Your signal got jammed up. We heard the part about that you brought the rights and you worked as a janitor at night, and then you spent the daytime knocking on doors.
Right.
I'm losing you. If you come back, feel free to come back when you're in a better spot. I don't know what happened here. I do apologize about that.
I'm gonna sign off and come back in.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Sorry about that, everybody. You know how live is. Sometimes it works. Sometimes live information hurts, but we're going to still go because I'm grateful for Mr. Farland to jump in. So I want to go in a little bit further on a couple of things. We already talked about, the $2.1 trillion, and honestly, it's underreported because a lot of people in our culture don't bother to report the information. But it has grown. Keep in mind that it has grown about 2.4 times since 2000, and some projection has actually over 3 to 4 trillion by 2030, and we're already in 2026. Keep that in mind. Let's see. All right. So are you with us?
It's still bad selling.
Yeah, where you, but yeah, wherever you were 5 minutes ago, it was great. Then wherever you're at now is not so great.
Give me 10 minutes and I'll come back on.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. So we'll get that straight, everybody. I'm sorry about that. But like I said, we're in 2026 and they're looking at almost by 2030, $3 to $4 trillion. Now the number is real and it's worth shouting it out. It really is, because the title of this piece is also his warning. A big spending number is not the same as big wealth. There's a difference. And confusing the two is exactly how $2 trillion can pass through our hands every year and leave little behind. Here's the gap in the federal government's own data through, I think I had it from the Federal Reserve in 2022 survey on consumer finances. Yes, we talked about it. Median household wealth is $2,885,000. Black wealth is $45,000. Now, Black households spend a world economic scale while holding roughly 1/6 of the net worth of white households. The reason is simple, and it's the whole point of this document, and this information that we have. Buying power measures what flows out of your hands. Wealth measures what stays within them, such as your home and your family. Income that arrives on Friday is going by Monday. To rent, to change the brands we don't own, build someone else's balance sheet, not ours. We talk about we got to have our Jordans and things that they pushed in our communities, and somehow told you that you weren't a man or a woman if you didn't have it, or you was less than. And that we had these fights in schools over it and things. If you didn't have the new kicks, the new flaves, whatever the new term it is and stuff like that. And then you have to have the matching cool clothes and things like that. And all that's nice and dandy and may look impressive, but at the end of the day, they wear out. They're going to not last after 2 or 3 years. Some people may have a few things longer. Okay. But really, it's only recently that the sneaker culture in terms of buying and selling has become a thing. Well, it's always been there, but actually a scalable model. That's still not something that everybody can actually win off of, because you're wearing the shoes. It's not like you're buying 2 or 3 pairs and you have one to wear and then one you keep in a box sealed and just trading back and forth like cars. We have to do a better job of recognizing what's really important and teaching our kids and our families. If you have on clean, listen, the clean suit, don't get me wrong. Yes, there's a difference between a $50 suit, pants and a blazer or what have you, versus a $500 suit. I get it. But at the end of the day, if you're clean and you're looking professional and you're out there doing a job, that's all that matters. I don't think if you're in a meeting and you pushing a deal, yes, some may be focusing on the suit more so than the deal and the content, but I'd rather be clean than broke and have something to go on the next day. And I think a real business person will honestly tell you the same thing. Some may not, but real people will tell you that you be able to walk out the door to have something else left after the fact is more important than spending it all and have nothing to show for it, because you don't know what's going to happen. Everything is not a guarantee. A useful corrective comes from economics and economists who push in the $2 trillion top 10 economy framing. Comparing our consumer spending to the GDP of Canada or Russia is apples to oranges. GDP measures everything a nation produces: factories, exports, government revenue, investments, all while the buying power only measures household consumption. We are a massive market and we're not even the massive owner. The campaign, to do better has to be louder. All right, and let me give you a couple of ideas I want to go on with this, where our money actually goes. The famous 6-hour statistic is really true. You have almost certainly heard that the Black dollar circulates 6 to 7 hours in the Black community versus 17 days for white, 20 days for Jewish, and 30 days for Asian communities. It's repeated everywhere by people from Roland Martin to the NAACP. But Here's what we have to be careful of. A Howard University fact-checking project Truth Be Told News traced the number to a 1990 self-help book by financial planner Brooke Stevens that never named the study behind it. Economists they interviewed pointed out that the federal government does not produce data that will let anyone circulate dollar or circulation time by race, and religion-based versions, such as the Jewish community, are even more suspect, I should say, because the government doesn't collect the economic data by religion at all. Ken Smilkle, who ran the respected buying power of the Black America, reported for years, but put it bluntly, he's been trying to kill the statistic for years because it can't be substantiated. Now, there are some who feel it is substantiated, but let's look at it from the truth, just with our own eyes. We see it every day. How often now, if the gentleman down the street that I spend $60, $70 for a used tire or something like that, or $120 for a used tire for that black shop, okay. But there's not many. It's that same shop down there, and I can go down the block right now, and there's not one black business. Or if possible, I can make it to another side of town that may have it or may not have it, and you're forced to. I get it, but that was done by design, not to have as many in certain areas. So if you have to be near one, that's fine. Or a collection of resources: the doctor, the tire shop, the mechanic, the grocery store, the hair salon, the barber shop, the bank, the clothing store. All these different things, if we do have them, is spread around. And after work, you're tired, you have your children to deal with, you have your after school, had to go to daycare to pick up your child, all these different things that we have to deal with on an everyday basis, regardless of culture. Convenience is the key. Safety is the key. And if I'm off of work and I said, okay, I'm going to try to spend that dollar and I got to go this here, and try to make my way all around town, it's very difficult to say I want that's only spent to that black dollar. That may be difficult in some areas, and that was done by design. And again, this is not about hate towards any culture. It's about the aspect of making sure that we have other avenues and ways to move forward. But the direction is true, even if the precise numbers are folklore. A figure that doesn't hold up from Maggie Anderson's research is that less than 2 cents of every dollar, 2 cents of every dollar Black Americans spend goes to Black-owned businesses. I will say it for a third time. Less than 2 cents of every Black dollar Americans spend goes to Black-owned businesses. The mechanism is real. When the store supply chains, landlords, and banks in and around our neighborhoods are owned by outsiders, money exits fast and compounds elsewhere. Don't know why I'm having trouble with words today. Forgive me. Use the concept. Fast and exit means compounding and necessary. And the drop of a hat for some. Again, we got to do better. Now, who captures the dollars? The spending is constant. Sorry, I'm going to get it together today, everybody. Forgive me. Spending is concentrated in a handful of sectors where ownership is overwhelmingly not Black. Beauty and personal cars, personal care, technology and streaming, fast food and dining, telecom, and apparel. Black women, for example, spend multitudes of money on a national average on hair and beauty products. Much of it is even stores that they don't own. That concentration is also opportunity. It means relatively small set of category shifts where you bank and where you buy hair and skin care, which professionals you hire, with subscriptions you keep, can move real money in droves. We have to do a better job of that. And then now when we do get these businesses, we can't sit there and try to control the market by charging enormous numbers and then say, hey, buy from me because I'm the Black business. No. If the business down the street is charging fairly a certain amount of money and you are not being precise in your actual numbers, now you're just hurting the community. We have to do a better job than that. One of the things why we need more Black banks, deposits don't sit still. Okay. They become loans right where you live in your communities. This is where the whole economic engine keeps going from a data point and even just a local point and even a psychological point is important. The $100 you deposit in a black owned bank doesn't just sit in an account, it goes back out as mortgage, a small business loan, and a line of credit within your own community. That's the multiplier that turns everyday spending into ownership. It's the black bank or the bank black idea lever that does the heavy lifting. So now you can actually contribute into the communities. They lend where the big banks red line. In 2021, black applicants were denied mortgages in the U.S. Around 15.3% versus 6.3% for white applicants. The Federal Home Mortgage Disclosure Act data. Black-owned banks practice relationship banking. They look at the whole person, not just the score. So they say yes where others will, reflexively say no. That's important. This is important why the content of your character is important and what other things you do in the community and what other things you do to try to build your name and your family. More people are apt to loan to that because they see the work that you're putting in versus a credit score versus the amount of money in your bank. Yes, you have to have certain things in place. Don't get me wrong, but still. And think about this. It wasn't even until the late 80s, I believe, that credit was even a requirement. Credit was designed mostly when they start seeing more and more black homes. Let's start it back. In the 60s, this even actually goes further, but let's start in the 60s and 70s. Many of them, when black homes were more and more black businesses, the Civil Rights Act, more marches, more peace, more other things, you start seeing more and more black neighborhoods. Even after the Tulsa situation, there were still plenty of other black communities where people were getting loans, and you saw other communities purchasing from us as well. So you saw a thriving economy. We had everything that got torn down with HUD and housing from the Reagan administration. Many black soldiers and military vets were not unable to get homes, even though they were promised. He started denying homes to people in the medical professional world, the doctors, the specialists, the nurses. And now they don't live in the homes. They don't have homes within the areas that they practice. Same thing for teachers now. Teachers probably don't want to live near the school, but still, for those who do, they do not have homes where they work. So all these things carry on. And the Reagan administration tore down a lot of stuff with funding and housing. And as the late 80s go on, the trick was, okay, let's also throw an extra knife in the game. Let's create credit checks. And obviously most people of color, especially Black America, don't have access to credit. So the whole thing was worse credit, 0, 400, 500s. And now we don't give it. Well, even if we give you credit, we'll give you 500,000 or maybe 5,000, where white America will give you 15, 20, 50,000, $100,000 and build from there. A lot of times even when our homes were of value, they did not give you the line of credit or equity from your home that you deserve, where much people use to build. That's where we say owning a home ownership is your first stage towards investing and building a life. And that's missing in a lot of homes. There was a saying that don't sell grandma's house for a long time, but unfortunately, many people had to. Now I get it for medical situation, colleges, those type of things. This is why it was very important that, if you do decide to sell the house for college and those type of things, you need to have a discussion with the child to understand the importance and what goes behind that Black dollar for things. And also they're vanishing, and that's an emergency issue that we have to have a conversation about. Where there were 134 Black banks in 1934, I believe, and now in 1976 there were only 50. Today you only have around 24 Black banks. That's less than 1% of all the FDIC insured banks in America. Every closure leaves a neighborhood without a lender that actually understands it. Let me give you another thing. You have credit unions. but the credit unions don't always have the same flexibility and options as the regular bank. You add the credit unions, now you add another 220 or so, but we really need more black banks. Nearly half of us are actually locked out of the mainstream system, to be honest with you. Roughly 49% of black households were unbanked or underbanked, compared to about 15% of white households, and this is from the Federal Reserve. They love pushing this stat, by the way. The gap pushes families towards payday lenders and check cashiers that strip wealth. Black banks are the affordable alternative that keeps it. Now think about it. That extra $50, $7,500 that you doing back in the day when we had a lot of the payday lenders and other things, that's where the extra money goes to. Now you have to pay that back in order to try to keep surviving. Even those who may have a business were still in need of loan for payroll or what have you. Notice that it was even stricter and harder when those who were waiting money back from credit card bills or charges from the banks in order to be able to say, okay, hey, I can pay people or what have you. This is why so many were stressed to have a certain amount of money for payroll and things for 30 to 60 days, because you never know when that money is coming in. It's not an exact date all the time. We all know 3 to 4 days. And then even if somebody asks for a refund or some other issue after those 7 days, now you have to deal with that as well. Those things are very important and to keep in mind. We have to make sure that we teach our children how money works. That's very important. Let me play this quick little video about banks, black banks in the need. It's only a few seconds, but I want to play this video. Also, we have a comment. Iman Hassan, thank you very much for commenting. Can't join WhatsApp right now while the show is going on, but I appreciate it for joining the show, and everybody else that's commenting and watching the show. I thank you so very kindly. I greatly appreciate it. Let me play this video here about black assets, black wealth, and so forth, because it's very, very important to have these different conversations. And by the way, before I play it, when was the last time that you talked to your children about money, about investing? Do your children even know about the stock market or other ways to invest within your home, or maybe even starting a small business? Have anything have you had any conversation with your children about it? And if you don't, and if you didn't, that's something we need to correct. Let them know why it's important. Let them know that we have to have a conversation about this. And we need to, and it's been reported several times in different communities all over. But let me get this information for you here. Let me see here.
Black History Facts Day 1. Truth 2. Why are black banks important? Minority-owned banks open doors to economic opportunity. Number 1, closing the gap for the unbanked. Number 2, boosting wealth with home loans. And number 3, responding to business community needs in a crisis.
Now, what is that crisis? Well, right now, we are in one pretty badly when it comes to crisis of homes. We don't have a series of homes and apartments and places for people to go. A lot of people, and especially the returning citizens, those who were struggling with different aspects of trying to transition and move for jobs, invest, all these different things. It's a crisis right now. We see these apartments growing all over the different cities. We see eminent domain being a very big situation in our communities. Why? Because they're able to get involved. Okay, we have our guest back. Let me see. Hey, sir, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
No, that's not a problem, sir. I appreciate you very kindly for your time. Everybody, here we have Mr. Insight News, the wonderful Mr. Al McFarland. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So if you'll permit me, I'll just go into what we were talking about. I'm
Yes, sir.
getting some feedback here. I don't know if it's coming across to you or not, but I can live with it. Are you okay on your side? Okay, great. So I was saying that, I started Insight News in 1974. I worked for a printing company over in a kind of an all-white part of Minneapolis. Company owned several trade magazines, one called Purchasing Management, one called Twin Cities Tool and Die Journal, Midwest Motor Transport, but they were magazines. They were glossy, professional trade magazines, and he sold commercial printing. I asked my boss, could I start a magazine for my neighborhood? I lived then where I live now in North Minneapolis, in the heart of the Black community. And in fact, where I'm sitting right now, I'm in my kitchen looking across to my dining room, and that's where I actually started my business, at my dining room table, about 40 feet from where I'm sitting right now. And that was in 1976. We started the magazine in 74, published 74, 75. I bought the rights, put it on the shelf for a year. I spent a week, my nights as a janitor in a suburban community at a conference center, and my daytime knocking on doors, selling advertising contracts. I succeeded in selling contracts worth about $130,000, and that allowed me to launch. And the terms were particularly attractive because they prepaid me a sizable portion of the first year's contract, and then allowed me to build the rest at the end of the contract. So I had cash, because I had no cash of my own at the time. So it was creative. So 76, we launched again as a newspaper. And I tell people the rest is history. We have emerged over this period of time, 50 years now, actually, as the leading ethnic or Black or minority newspaper in Minnesota. I don't like the term minority, but it's commonly used. I use the term Black. I consider myself an African American or an African. And in fact, the term I love to use the most is a New World African. Why do you use that term, Al McFarland? I am on my mother's side, and on your side, we descend from the Sykes family out of Mississippi. And I think they originated maybe in the Carolinas, North Carolina, but they must have originated from there, from Yoruba land in Ghana. Through my DNA, I end up on my mother's Matra clan side. She shows up as 98% Yoruba. So I call myself, and I say that we probably are Yoruba people. I don't know if you've done your DNA yet, but if you have, I'd love to swap notes with you on that. My father's side, however, my father's an immigrant, Cuban born, came to this country from Jamaica. And so I claim that element of my heritage as well, being both Cuban, being Jamaican and African. In Jamaica, some years back, I was at a lecture of communications people from the Caribbean and North America, African Americans, and a Professor Rex Nettleford was talking about Black culture, Black people, Black identity. And for the first time in my life, I heard someone describe us as New World Africans. And that thought hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, that's it. That's who I am. I'm an African in the New World. And that experience also parallels and sort of goes hand in hand with another experience. One of my early employees, a sister named Azania Little. I knew her dad really well. He was active in the NAACP in Minnesota, one of the titans of the community. And she was one of many, many, many young people that worked for me. And she left at one point in time and went to Africa for a month or two, or maybe a year, came back. When she came back, the first thing she said to me was, "Hello, African." And I said, "What you call me?" You know how we say when somebody call you a name that you're not sure you're comfortable wearing. She said, "Hello, African." I said, "What?" And so she took a deep breath. She smiled and said, "Hello, African." And I took a deep breath and I said, "Call me that again. Call me that again and again and again, because it feels good." It felt good. And I'm able to put that on and to wear it and walk in it and stand in it. So I see myself as an African man, an African American, I see myself as not this versus that, this or that. I am this and this and this and this. What do you mean? I am the son of the enslaved from Sunflower County, Mississippi, and their forebearers who came somewhere on the East Coast in the transatlantic slave trade. I'm the son of the Jamaicans and Cubans who also were trafficked in the transatlantic slave trade, the greatest crime against humanity in the history of humanity, the enslavement of African people and the pillaging of African land, of African wealth, and African possibility, a cruel 500-year experience that we, brother, are working our way through now. And I'll say this, I'm not saying this to criticize, take that back. I'm not saying it to cry. I'm saying it just to declare and to analyze. I'm stating the facts. This is what happened. And we are where we are. And I'll say that I believe we are where we're supposed to be, because I think the Creator has a master plan. And that master plan, as Pharaoh Sanders would say, is peace and happiness for every man, for all humankind. And I think that we are the architects, the bearers of the potential of freedom, of peace and happiness for all of humanity. I think that we are the creators as African people of civilization that the earth now experiences. It came from us. We are the original people. And so I believe that we are discovering who we are reconnecting, and we are becoming who we always were, who we were in the beginning, who we were before the beginning, who we will be when the end comes and goes. We're going to be here. That's what I think. So all that to say, my profession, I'm a writer, I'm a journalist. I now use the term scribe. I am a scribe, and my mission is to document, to write, to tell the story, to observe. I recognized early on in my career, brother, that I have a gift. It's a dual-sided gift. The one side of it is the gift of perception. I have the ability to look at something, look at a thing and describe it. Look at it, remember it, understand it, and describe it so that if I describe it to somebody else, they'll say, oh, now I know. Or if they were there and I was there and the crowd was there and I come later and say, here's what happened, the people I tell it to who were there will say that is what happened. So that's the side of the gift of presentation. That's my writing skill. I'm a journalist, I'm a writer. But the first half of the gift is the gift of listening, gift of hearing, being an active listener, being a listener who has an intention of understanding what the person is saying, what the situation is saying, what the times are saying, what the wind is saying. So that's who I am. I bring that to my career as a journalist. I worked for the daily newspaper in St. Paul, the St. Paul Pioneer Press. That's where that was my second job in the field. My first job was working for a community paper in a small town in southwestern Minnesota called Worthington, Minnesota. When I got out of the military, I came to Worthington to live. That's where my mother and father had moved to from Kansas City. Kansas City was where I was born. My dad's job shut down in Kansas City. They moved to Worthington, a small town of 10,000 people. And so our family, I'm from a family of 12. I'm number 2 of 12 kids. We were part of the 84 Black people in Nobles County, 84 Black people in the county. So that's kind of the environment that I came to in Minnesota from Kansas City, but worked for the daily newspaper there. And that's where I got started writing. And I went to the community college there. That's where I met Alex Haley. He was there doing a lecture on a series talking about the book Malcolm X, which just come out. He was touring. And after he made the lecture, I said, look, why don't you come by my house, meet my mom and dad and my family stuff. He did. He had a briefcase with him. And I said, what's in the briefcase? He said, something I'm working on. Said, what is it? It's a manuscript. What's the name of it? He said, well, the working title is Before This Anger. And I said, can I see it? He said, absolutely not. You can't see it. You can't touch it. And I'm not saying anything else about it. Well, obviously, that book was Roots. That was the book he was working on at the time. So I was lucky to have been in his presence, in his company, and to have listened to him and to hear him tell his story about Malcolm X, that relationship, his coming up like me, he was actually a sailor as well, and got to start writing letters for shipmates when he was in the Navy or Coast Guard. So that's kind of the story. I've got a gazillion stories to tell. I'm so glad you have invited me to be on the show. And I think the topic today, money, is the topic of the hour. And we got to spend a lot of time. I really appreciated that video you're showing, because that lays it out.
Very much so, sir. Thank you very much. This been a topic. A good friend of mine has also been on me about making sure we talk about the Black Bank and $2 trillion and all these different things. Much of the show that I explained earlier, and but one of the things I'll highlight, go back on, is that, we spend about $2.1 trillion. The average white household has almost 250,000, where we basically got $45,000 worth of wealth, and the different reasons why we don't have it in our banks. And I was explaining that how I get it that in our communities it's not available. Like, I can go across outside the street and spend the money for the tire, but how far will that go? And there's one person saying that, there's no truth or enough information to substantiate the number of times that it stays in our community about the 6 or 7 hour deal. But the one fact that is true that we do have information on is that, out of $1, only 2 cents, less than 2 cents stays within the Black community. And that is true, and that we have stats on. So those type of things were very important that we hit on. And one of the things I was trying to explain is that, this is not about a Black or white thing or any type of hate towards any other community. It's just about how we utilize our own resources to get ahead. They spent plenty of time separating us, and one of the things that they did in separating us is also separates the economic engine that we already have. And so, in a town or in a region or in a county or jurisdiction or where province in your area, we have the store owner or the shop or clothing store, the food store, the bank, the meat market, the fish market, the doctor's office, the mechanic, all these different stores or what have you, the general stores are all spread around town. So when the person has to work, and especially in our cases, many cases, in our blue collar jobs in our service industry, people are working 2, sometimes 3 jobs, get off of work, and you have to pick up your child from daycare. You have to check on your sick mother or father or go visit them in the senior home, and you try to get everything done in time. Then you may have to get home to work and cook and clean your home and wash clothes before you get to work, sleep to go to work the next day, so you won't be tired on the job and the boss is mad at you. Or you have to go to your child's game, football, basketball, baseball, recital, whatever the situation may be. All these things is hard. And one of the things that's very important to us in all communities is convenience and flexibility. And when you do not have that, and to sit here and say, okay, I get it. We got to drive to this town to get this. I got to get to town here, got to go here. That was the whole point of disbanding and disenfranchising our Black communities. So we do not have the ability to get to everywhere in a certain amount of time. And it wasn't just done in Tulsa. This was done all over. It just happened to be Tulsa be the more popular one, but that was not the first or the largest. That was here in Richmond, Virginia. But it was the aspect of the process was still done between what they did in Redwood, what we did Rosewood, what they did in Seneca, New York, what they did in some other places in Kentucky and Mississippi, even there in Minnesota, all these different things that is done. And we have to, even people are not aware, and you can speak more to this than I can. There were a lot of people who, and obviously we know many people in the South came up north, but not many people were aware they went up to Canada and also Wyoming, Montana, and Minnesota and other places there just to help build up and get away. Because obviously the old standard, they didn't want to go in the cold. We were in the cold, so we'll go from there. But you can speak to about the big migration towards Minnesota. Could you speak a little bit to help build the financial market? Because there is a large, in Minneapolis and other areas in Newark and other places throughout Minnesota, there's a large contingent of African Americans building a lot of businesses. Can you speak to that a little bit on the financial side, a little bit more than, because I can't do that.
Sure. I can, and thank you. It's an interesting. The migration here, as you said, came through the railroad here, and the lots of families came from Kansas City, from Iowa, from Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas. Lots came from St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit. Different ways at different times, but the people I've talked to about their early migrations talked about Black people who were traders, fur trappers. A guy named George Bonga was a pioneer in rural Minnesota and lived among the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa people. And his family is still in Indian country. There's been a presence for a long time. When Black people moved here, like everywhere else, they were basically segregated or redlined into certain districts. In St. Paul, the district was called Rondo. So there's a big event now called Remember Rondo, or Rondo Days. I live in North Minneapolis. North Minneapolis is the largest center of Minnesota's Black population. But also there's the South Minneapolis community. Famous now because that's where George Floyd was murdered at 28th in Chicago, in South Minneapolis. Three principal city communities: North Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, and the Summit University, and the Rondo neighborhoods. Over the years, with more and more people coming to Minnesota, populations migrated to the first suburbs. And now suburbs have Black mayors, Black members of the city council, and are developing entrepreneurial opportunity. That is true broadly in the city, but it's difficult to grow and sustain a business. And for the obvious reasons, there has been in the remains a misunderstanding of the value with each other and for each other. And that's something we have to grow ourselves out of, grow ourselves into a spirit of collaboration, cooperation, articulation of our self-interest, a path of action, reflects awareness, consciousness, and an intention to build our own families and our own community, and to do that in the context of celebrating our identity, who we are. So the challenge there is that there is a perception that to be successful, you got to be white, or you got to be close to white people. But one of the earlier jokes here in Minnesota was a comparison of life in the South and life in the North. And you must have heard this before. They'll say that in the South, as big as you want to, just don't get close. Right? North, they say you get as close as you want to. You sleep in the same bed. You want to. Just don't get bigger than me. Don't get richer than me. So there's a attitude here that without speaking it, it feels like intention. A cultural practice of treating Black people like we are invaders. Or we are the barbarians at the gates. So systems, including business, education, I think religion, politics, have all to keep us at a margin,
But I have to tell you that we are so brilliant and so resilient that they can't stop us. And we keep going. We keep rising. Yeah, I'm thinking of that song, a new song by Sounds of Blackness, Unstoppable. That's who we are. Unstoppable. And so we have to sit in that and lean in and figure out ways to pass the distrust of each other that we have learned. The distrust of ourselves we have learned, that we've been taught, that's been injected into our consciousness. One of the phrases I've heard describing this decolonize our mind. Our minds have been colonized. We serve the state. We serve white supremacy. And we're just being good citizens. So we are working our interests in that place. But then the game is how we wake up. How do we put ourselves back together? And I call that the process of remembering and making meaning or meaning making. Let me riff on this for a quick second. I used to do my show, Conversation with Eleanor Parham, Russo's Kitchen, we call it a classic, the Black Soul Point. And I'd have an audience every morning for live broadcasts, make announcements. One of the regulars and community, we call him the queen of the community, the griot, Brother Mahmoud El. Just so you know who he is, he's the Stokely Williams. Everybody knows who Stokely is. Stokely's part of that Minnesota Music Mag, right? Mahmoud once said, remember. And so he remembered. I got something to remember. No, it's deeper than that. To remember means that you recognize the body has been dismembered. The mission now, the work is to put back that which had been torn asunder, that which had been dismembered. So it calls to mind the scripture that God asked Ezekiel, God asked Ezekiel, and these bones, he's in the valley of dry bones, giant broken bones, right? And these bones live again. And the prophet said, God, if you will, of course. And so the song talks about all the parts of the coming back together. Those bodies were remembered, a new man, new human being. That's where we are right now. This is a moment of memory. And one of the tools of that memory, I believe, the DNA science allows us to know who we are to each other. But I'll come back to the question about the hearing. I want to come back to that. But I want to stop for a second.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. I want to let everybody else know I have my queen, who is one of the best people in the world, one of the best wives, literally one of the best wives in the world, of a great man, and everybody else. Miss Arthur Raw Silk author Tracy Hardy Scott. I'm struggling with my words today. Please forgive me, everybody, but welcome and join us today. And thank you for joining us today. How are you today?
Oh, all the time. I'm just happy listening today. I apologize for being late, but got called to an emergency SCLC call and just hopped off of there to hop on here.
Well, thank you very much. Well, first of all, allow me to introduce to you a dear cousin of mine out here in Minnesota, out in Newark, outside of Minneapolis, Mr. Al McFarland, head of Insight News.
Good evening.
Hey. How you doing? Good to meet you.
So what we were talking about, Raw Silk, we hit on several things, but one of the things the show's topic is about the $2 trillion, and I was explaining that it's actually more. I do believe it's double because we are not very good at keeping records of our money and reporting the money for obvious reasons. But it's reported close to, in 2030, we're looking at $3 to $4 trillion in spending. And this has to stop because obviously we had to spend for a variety of different reasons, and we were taught and encouraged to spend while everybody else saves. And if we're going to spend, let it be within our own communities. There's a bunch of reports that saying that it's a big myth about this 6 or 7 hour about how much our money stays in our community. But whether you believe in that myth or not, one of the things that we do have a fact of from the Federal Reserve, and they love publishing it, is that out of $1, less than 2 cents is I think 1.3 cents is given back to out of $1 back to the Black community that we spend, and this is wrong. And I've also went over several different reasons why we needed the Black Bank. And I had a video that I played earlier. I might just play it again because it was very important. And this video is not about a black-white thing, and I'm coming out to hurt anybody, because this information could be used for anybody to help improve their family situation and building their own bank. And also, I played a video about building your own family bank. It doesn't matter so much for YouTube because both of you got money like that, but still, I want to make sure that we understand that this is not an attack on any other race, and it's not an attack within our own race. It's just sitting here, and I'm not looking to bury our Black people. I'm looking here to encourage and take this information to go forward. Before I continue on, what is your feeling regarding our Black economic status, and also let me take it a little bit deeper dive. As a woman of color, of mixed heritage, and a native New Yorker, we talk about the money, the penny books that we were taught, but what does money mean to you, and why is it a struggle to teach the importance of money to our families, and especially to Black women because of our spending in hair salons and other things? What does that mean to you?
I think I have a unique perspective on that because I know it's something that we need and want, but for me, money means absolutely nothing. I mean, because I don't put any value in it. That's just me. I believe in riches in other avenues, you know what I'm saying? Richness and health, richness and family, richness and community, in the common sense of the word. But as far as the economic portion, is absolutely poor. We don't believe in, and I don't even want to say we don't believe in it. I don't think we understand. I want to go by there. The lack of education that we have on money and the value of savings and the value of passing on generational wealth bypasses us. I think we're irresponsible a lot with money. I think that one of the things that we don't concentrate on is the difference between a want and a need. Okay, and so we end up spending more money on our wants than what we actually need. I think that we have adopted this Caucasian mentality of being label whores. So we spend money on unnecessary things just because it's got a label on it. We'll walk around wearing somebody else's name and bragging about it, but somebody of color could create a name brand and put their label on it, and we won't wear it because it's not popular. And a perfect example for that, if you remember back in the late 80s and 90s when FUBU came out, okay, and it was for us, by us, and we thought that was kind of like the reject of the time until it became pop culture. and then they started wearing it, but that those clothes was in the hood for the longest of time. I could name clothes labels that did not make it strictly because of where they come, like Carl Kanai. A lot of people listening to my voice don't even know who Carl Kanai is. I grew up with Carl. His designer clothes was absolutely fabulous, but they didn't go anywhere, but they had his name on it. Okay, but we'll turn around and we're Tommy Hilfiger, okay, who didn't even want us in his clothes. So I just think that we have this misconception and confusion about what's important and what's not. You and I've talked on previous shows how I remember in New York we used to be able to go to a store called John's Bargain Store, and I've been a Converse girl ever since I was young, and Converses was considered the rejects in the hood. You could literally buy them for $1.99 with the shoestrings tied together, thrown in a tub, and you would sort through them for your size. And now you go to get a pair of Chuck Taylors and they're good $80, $90. So it's like, it's amazing to me, the things, when I share with my son the first time, I was like, you used to get Tim's for $20, $30, and now they're like $80 and $90. So I just think that whenever we start utilizing stuff and we put our spin on it, our swag on it, our flavor to it, then the price just becomes astronomical. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Amen on that. It is very important.
There's one other thing that I wanted to say. There was one other thing that I forgot to hit on is let's just talk about the hair industry, right? Because Black women spend more money on hair than any race, okay, on weave and all of this other stuff, and I had a girlfriend, and Ashley very well, that used to get her hair imported. She actually used to go over to India and pick it, personally. And it would cost like $1 or something for a bulk. But then when it gets over here, a bundle is a good $100 and something or whatever. And we will run to beauty supply stores that pop up all in our neighborhood and not be respected. But a Black woman opens up a hair supply store and she's out of business within 60 to 90 days because she can't get any sales. That's just crazy to me.
Very, very much so. And we have to do a better job of supporting. One of the things I was talking about earlier is, I know they're probably tired of me repeating it, but we live in a system where the purpose was to disenfranchise us by spreading our businesses around or not even having it. Because when you get off of work, you have to go to all these different places, get off work, check on mom or dad at the senior home or at home, cook for them, come home, cook and clean your home, the kids, games, whatever, and then trying to identify sit out and try to identify the Black businesses at that spur of the moment, and you losing time where you can't go to the Black grocery store if it's on the other side of town, but your family is over here. The whole idea was to spread us out and disenfranchise us in so many different ways. One of the things
but think about it, Mr. LP, when we were coming up in New York, and the supermarkets had the whole no frill section. Remember that? Okay, and they had a whole section of white label cans and boxes or whatever. It was the same stuff, okay? It just didn't have a label, someone's name on it. And so people would refuse to buy it because it didn't have a name on it, but it was the same exact stuff, like, Green Giant in a can. It was the same thing. It just, instead of having Green Giant peas, it just said peas on the can. And nobody wanted those peas because they didn't have a name on it.
Right. It just said they would take the white label or the green label and just write beans or this. I give you another one, the can sales on ShopRite.
Right.
Didn't want to do it because if they see your family shopping at the can sales, they would say, "Oh, you were poor," which I was like, $2 for a whole thing of cans. I mean, I didn't understand the problem. But I apologize for there's an emergency outside, so I apologize for I can't mute the fire people, but I apologize for that if it bleeds through. One of the things, the topics I want to talk about that does not get addressed is identified is these myths regarding why 5 to 6 reasons why Black people do not trust banks. And I want to go over, both of you are younger than me, so you may not heard about these things, but I want to go over a couple of them and get your thoughts on it. One of them was the original wound, the Freedmen Savings Bank. This is where there's a root about it. Chartered in Congress in 1865 to help free slaves build wealth, but run by white trustees. They gambled the people's money on speculative loans and Oh, I'm sorry. So hopefully we can get you back. But they gambled on poor people's money on speculative loans and self-dealing. And in 1874, it collapsed, with wiping out more than 60,000 Black depositors to the tune of nearly $3 million. The government refused to make them whole. One depositor said it best, "It has been the Black man's cow, but the white man's milk." The University of Chicago study directly links that betrayal to the Black distrust of banks that still lives in us today. The truth that we need to give you is that 150 years ago, before deposit insurances existed, today every FDIC insured bank, Black owned included, protects your money up to $250,000. What happened to our grandparents and grandpas and grand uncles and what have you legally cannot happen to you today. But what do you think, Mr. McFarland? What do you think about this? You're muted.
It's a discussion that we have to have. What happens to money and how money works. I think there are two issues here. One is that a large part of our community is misinformed and has misunderstanding about the whole notion of money. And the misunderstanding comes from our limited knowledge of the Bible, which says the love of money is the root of all evil. We interpret that to say that money is the root of all evil. So you have our people walking around talking about, talking wrong about money. And I think what we need is a healthy examination and exploration of what money is, how it works, why we use it, why it's practical to have money. And money as a medium of exchange, of establishing value and of measuring, because it's about placing value on labor and value on products and produce and things that you add value to with your work. So I think that in history, it's phenomenal what our people did coming out of enslavement in building the towns you mentioned, like Rosewood and Nicodemus and Black Wall Street and Wilmington. Phenomenal activity happening everywhere at the same time of people who gained freedom and knew what to do with it. And that was take care of your family. Take care of your family. Get some clothes, get some education, get some food, get some work, build a house, build a community, and to know that we do this better collectively than we can do it alone. The trap and the trick has been to fall into this idea of individualism, where we think that it's the individual and not the collective that matters. I got a story in my paper coming up this week that looks at the history of Black music in Minnesota. And we start off talking about Prince and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Sounds of Blackness, people, Morris Day. These are names that people know because they really put Minnesota on the map nationally and globally. But the story says, even though that's what most people might bring to mind when you ask about Black music in Minnesota. Those are several important individuals. They are not the story. They are the beneficiaries of the cultural of Black life. And they are the ones as individuals who stand out. And so I think we don't want to get to where we're in this. I make it, you can't make it. Me against you, me against the world. We have to get back to the same spirit of cooperation and collaboration those who came out of enslaved had in the building of community and in understanding their sacred right and responsibility to care for each other and to care for the land, to care for the environment, right, and to by living righteously, assure a future. And we are in that future. So our ancestors deserve praise for what they endured and how they overcame. And our nation is to continue on the same trajectory towards the freedom that we were told about and the freedom that we envision. And so I think it comes from being cooperative as a mindset, being in community as a choice, and rejecting the idea of being a rugged individual. All of us in the same boat.
I agree with you a whole lot. I can tell you a little bit of that I know about some of the ancient history. I shouldn't say ancient, but history of Minnesota music. When we talk about the history, as a sidebar, in North Minneapolis, there was a radio station, WKUXL.
KUXL.
AM. Yeah, 1450. Jack Soul Harris, old Daddy Harris, old Soul. I'm sorry, I won't get it, but I know it's Jack Harris, but Old Daddy Soul Harris, I think it was. And then there was another one in St. Paul's. I don't remember the station, but Gopher Elks Drum Corps was, their practices help lead the way for a lot of the Minneapolis sound, the bass and the sound and the beat that Jimmy and everybody else took on and took it to another level. But from the 40s and 50s, that's where it started from, if I recall. And things. So I definitely understand it. One of the other issues and myths, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of them all the time, but because we're running up against it in our time. But one of the things is technology. They talk about is the convenience and technology. Big banks spending billions on slick applications, ATMs on every corner, branches everywhere. And we know in a lot of communities, especially in the 80s and 90s, you could definitely find a lot of black ATMs all over the black neighborhoods throughout the country, and with high fees. That was a common thing. With only about 24 banks left, the complaint is real. I can't even find one near us. That is true. The truth is that now many of them offer full online and mobile banking, free ATM networks. We see online scanning. It's an issue. You can open and run an account from your couch in your pajamas, but you don't need a branch on your block to run a black bank. So there's an issue with technology that we have to work with. And the other thing that we need to discuss, which we've already discussed, what you brought on, I think the word is conditioning. Black owned somehow means less than, and that is not the case. Let's say the quiet parts out loud. All right. Generations were trained to believe that white institutions were safer, smarter, and legitimate. And that's our own second rate, that our own banks are second rate. Now that's our fault. Maggie Anderson called it the crisis of consciousness, excuse me. Some of us trust a stranger's bank over our own families, and the truth, and these are real truths, honestly, that regulated FDIC insured century-old institutions, not a card table on a corner, is better. And that's what they kind of viewed us as, something that's going to be gone today, here today, gone yesterday, and the doubt isn't based on performance, because a lot of the banks outperformed many of them far better. It's based on what we taught them to believe within ourselves. So that negative self-hate is within our communities that hurts us all the time. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely agree. But I also say that there is an awakening on the planet and among Black people as we speak. I think that our genius is being recognized, even though they still want to exploit us and exploit it for their comfort, for benefit of their development. We are recognizing their processes and their bankruptcy, and their inability to be creative. And we recognize that what they enjoy and do most and do best is copy, steal, copy, and then claim that they originated something they didn't. So we are now in a position to say what it is, because to say this 50 years ago would have been heresy. To say it 100 years ago get you killed. Right? We said it nonetheless, privately. Now we are saying things publicly we couldn't say before on pain of death. I think that we have shed the fear that we experienced and live with real and necessary for us to survive. This is not a criticism about anybody that was scared as he or she was watching a black body hanging from a tree, or somebody getting killed by a policeman, because it still happens too much in too many places. But now we are uniquely able to protest that, to talk about it. And I think we always did, but the reach of our conversation was limited because we didn't control the systems of communications that we control now. So we have both the presence of Black media that supported awareness and a unified voice. I had on Emmett Till's cousin on my show Tuesday, and she's talking about the big event coming up in August, I think it is, in Mississippi, commemorating Emmett Till's life and work. Well, what Jet Magazine and Ebony Magazine did, and what that family did, Miss Mamie Till did, in insisting that the casket be open and that the world could look at the horror that racism had done to this one individual Black baby, a boy, a young man, murdered and brutally brutalized, and the people that did the crime acquitted, right? It was a laughing stock. So our media was able to tell that story to our people, but fast forward to the young sister here in Minneapolis who happened to take out her phone as she watched the murder of George Floyd by our government. And that's the key, is for us to be able to say that this man was killed by the government. The state the state murdered George Floyd. The state murdered and enslaved our people for hundreds of years. State-sponsored terror. The enterprise of governance in this country, one could call a criminal enterprise. What they did was a crime. So what Africa did, like 2 weeks ago, President John Mahama in Ghana hosted Africa's, to my knowledge, first Juneteenth celebration, moving our experience and our observation of our gaining freedom, out of Juneteenth celebrations to the African continent. There's some controversy around that, but the salient part for me is that Ghana is saying that what happened to our sons and daughters who were trafficked by a criminal enterprise, by governments and corporations and insurance companies and businesses and agriculturalists, right, and manufacturing, all of that. The economy of the world depended on the theft of life and labor of African people, ripped from African soil and then continually subjugated and exploited in the entire West. These were New World Africans, exploited by the colonizer. So, simple things like calling a colonizer a colonizer. It's about the definition, and calling a crook, calling a criminal enterprise a criminal enterprise. So what if you were brother in England in 1780, 1750, and some people that maybe you invested in, went across the way and they were supposed to give you some returns on your investment and they decided not to. What would you call them? Criminals. And what they did was what you would call a criminal conspiracy to rob you of what you thought was yours, right? That's taking it far because that whole system is criminal as well. So it's like, the pot acknowledging the pot, doing what pots do. We have to get to where we question how we describe and see everything, not only how we see ourselves and how we speak to ourselves and how we address ourselves and treat ourselves, but how we also see other human beings, and not place people in God positions where they don't belong, and to place ourselves in the positions we belong in. And if we can place ourselves in the proper light, the proper understanding, then we have the freedom to connect with other human beings on a different level all over the planet, all over the world. Our day is coming. So I'm most excited right now about what's happening in Burkina Faso. I don't know if you're familiar, you follow the work of Captain Ibrahim Traore, a military coup in Burkina Faso 3 years ago. What he's done is
I'm sorry. Say the name.
His name. The country is called Burkina.
Say that name.
Faso, F-A-S-O. Burkina Faso. Look him up. And the leader is a young man, 37 years old, named Ibrahim Traore. And he staged a coup that ousted a previous coup that had been subservient to France and the colonial powers. And what he has done, he said, you know what, we're decolonizing our mind, and we don't owe our existence to Europe, to France. In fact, they are living off of us while we are poor. They're taking our gold, our uranium, our produce, and telling us that our poverty is our problem. And they are stealing from us day in, day out. And they have systems and processes that justify it, and banking systems that are global that support it. It's a criminal enterprise. We are seeing it for what it is. Two things. One, question it. Secondly, don't worry about that. Worry about what can we do to each other, for each other, to build ourselves individually, family-wise, neighborhood-wise, collectively. How do we begin to do that?
Yeah. I appreciate that very much. Silk, are you there with us, ma'am?
I am. I'm sorry. I lost signal or whatever, but I've just been listening, and I don't have a whole lot of input for this evening. That's rare, right?
That's not a problem. Not a problem. Well, as up against the time and things like that, I don't want to go too further in a point, and we might have to revisit this again because there's a couple of other points I wanted to go over, because it's like, okay, we answered the what and the why. Now, what do we go forward? I want to talk about, we talked about how the money and where it actually goes, but I wanted to talk about the 90-day collective of what we could do in a buy-in, buy-out campaign, similar to what we did with Target and some other different things that's out there. But I want to discuss a playbook, a 90-day playbook. And I may sound a little bit too technical at some points, but I feel that it's worth a discussion that we could have. But before I close out, I'm always wanting to offer positivity and success stories. Now, when we say a campaign and other things, they say, okay, well, when has this ever been successful? Well, let me give you one. Don't buy where you can't work. in Chicago, 1829. Tracy was born around that time, but one of the earliest organizations organized campaigns. Picketers boycotted a Woolworths that took black dollars but wouldn't hire black workers. The store agreed to 25% black hiring policy. About 2,000 jobs at its peak across the movement were spread to cities nationwide. So when they did it, everybody else followed. Now, we already know about the Montgomery bus boycott. Now, if you don't know about that one, I'm going to charge your parents on, doing what they need to do. But here's one that I know, Mr. McFarland, correct me if I'm wrong. This is one that you talked about ages ago, and I think it was you. The Leon Sullivan's selective patronage. Did you talk about that some years ago? Do you remember?
Selective buying campaign.
Leon Sullivan. Okay. I remember.
OICs of America. Leon Sullivan, the Lion of Judah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Sullivan organized.
How do we organize and train ourselves for jobs? And make a demand that we get a fair share of the work, particularly in the government sector, but also in the private sector that is depending on government money. Government money is our money. And to the degree that we pay taxes, but do not get a chance to benefit from the application and the flow of those tax dollars, we are being robbed.
Exactly.
And so the question is to not pay the taxes. That's illegal. But the question is to withhold money from those companies that don't hire our people, that don't buy goods from our people, that don't invest in our community, and that don't allow us to run and take equity in those operations. So it's about equity. So I have a quick note here. One of the things we have to do is redefine what wealth building is. It's a paradigm shift. And the conversation is to go from individual financial literacy, which is important, to a conversation about collective economic power. So wealth is not just about personal savings. It is about that, but that's not all it's about. It's also about infrastructure. It's about ownership, and it's about institutional capacity. And one of the things that video that you showed was that it's good to be able, most people give their kids bills when they die. The lucky ones may get a house. And that's great. But the ones who are thinking right lead institutions. We need to build, keep, and grow institutions to safeguard and grow wealth in the community, in our country, our people.
I agree with you. One of the things about I appreciate Leon Sullivan because what he did was a lot of people thought he was a sellout, and because people assumed that he was trying to change how they work or how we act as a way to appease white people, but it wasn't. It was about helping ensure that we become gainfully employed to be able to set our own markers. I'm going to read a brief description, and I want people to understand what he did. He organized 400 black ministers to direct the congregation's patronage towards companies that would hire and promote black workers and away from those that wouldn't. It won thousands of jobs and grew into the Opportunities Industrialization Center Job Network, which was a big word back then. Now, let me say it again. Opportunities Industrialization Center, OIC, and later global, it changed to the Sullivan Principles, which we need to talk about that at some point. But it's a very clean buy-in, buy-out model that we can use. We already know about the Operation Breadbasket in the 60s and 70s. Jesse Jackson led the Chicago one. And I want to talk about one that did not get a lot of notice, and it should have. And I believe you're familiar with this also, sir. Our Black Year, the experiment that was done in 2009. Maggie and John Anderson pledged to buy only from Black-owned businesses for a year. The lesson was double-edged and important. It was genuinely hard. Whole category had not even nearby Black-owned options. food, what have you, and such. And the broader community didn't rally the way they hoped, but it produced something concrete. A study with Northwestern's Kellogg School estimating that if middle-class Black families raised their spending with Black businesses from about 3 to 10%, roughly 1 million jobs could be created. The Andersons take away individual heroics aren't a strategy. Infrastructure and collective habits are. And this is important. When we talk about King, X, Evers, or all these great speakers and leaders, none of it would have happened if we did not build the base underneath it. If we didn't have the various Muslim organizations, we did not have the NAACP, the SCLC, all these different groups for women suffragists, the NOW group, all these different groups. You can put whatever person if you want up front, but if you don't start and build that infrastructure first, you will have nothing. You go for, you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go far, you go with others. This is a true fact, not just the African proverb, but this has worked in every stage of history. Okay, no matter you can, and I say that to try to give people to understand. People think this is just a Black issue. Yeah, it's a Black issue, but the fact that you don't have an infrastructure is a key factor in every single stage in life, even in your home, in your relationship, whatever. You have to have that. And this is one of the reasons why it didn't go as far, because I don't believe it built a structure. You can't just deal something, but you didn't identify these locations first and how to go about it first. Then you go out there and put it out there and go famous with it, then or viral at the time, and see how it works. Just my own 2 cents. Before we go, Mr. McFarland, please, for those who are not aware, could you please tell us to give us your website, how people can find you, when's your next show, your head topic, and and the number we can call to get a loan from your bank?
Let me show you first of all. Are you able to see my screen?
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna share that right now. Okay, there we go.
So. First, I want to thank you for letting me, for inviting me on here. I'm enjoying the conversation. Yes, let's keep doing this. And you're going to be on my show next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have the same conversation and variations of it. In fact, you'll be meeting another relative that you don't know. But we're both out of the same family on our Sykes clan. And this is a brother named Jesse Overton, who just came back from Tennessee, where the town his third or fourth grandfather lived in, just dedicated a plaque to him because his grands came out of enslavement. They opened a blacksmith shop, and they were successful in being business people, and they assured wealth in their families for generations and generations. That's what you're talking about, and that's what we got to do, family by family, with intention. So I want you to see what I do with Insight News. I love this work every week. My objective is to put a picture in the public mind of our community that gives us courage and power, that encourages us to speak our minds, to criticize but also praise, and to elevate each other, right? Not be afraid. And whenever I get stressed or down a little bit, I go to this archive and look at the work that I have done, because the work is beautiful. And it's powerful, and it's consistent. And this is what I have been doing for 50 years. Week after week after week. This is an institution. And so what we have to do is build and encourage each other to do the same. I'll stop there. So you can find this publication online at issuu.com/Insight News. Or go straight to my website, which is insightnews.com. And my show, The Conversation with Paul, is on YouTube every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, where it's a live broadcast on radio station KFAI and streamed across LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And that's what we do.
I'm trying to, I'm going as fast as I can. So please forgive me because I want to put this on the screen. InsightNews.com. That's not, I have /users profile McFarland, but let me do it this way. Tell me the first one. You said Isuzu. I know I'm saying it wrong, but could you tell me the first one, please?
ISSU.com /Insight News. And that gets you to the archive. So each week's paper there for several years is available. It's a wonderful archive. And like this paper here, wealth building. This is your topic. Wealth building must begin before a child can spell college. Isn't that a wonderful idea? If we start telling each other that our mission is before a child can spell the word college, he or she must be involved, and the family must be involved in intentional building wealth.
Amen. Is this the correct website there? Is that the correct website there, sir?
Let me double check. Hold on. Let me come out of this. Let's see. That's through the archive. ISU.com. That'll get you the screen that we just were sharing with you.
Okay, cool. And what's the other site for your news thing?
www.insightnews.com.
Okay, all right. That's that one. Okay, that one I had. Let's see.
And I encourage people to read, but also to comment. If you got something you don't like about what I say, I appreciate it. Send me a letter. Send me a post. Let's have a conversation. What we got to do is talk to each other. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you that we definitely have to do that. I want to go to the page and show the page to the world. This is your webpage right here.
Mm-hmm.
And this lovely article, wealth building. Begins. Well, so this is a great news site that you have. I greatly appreciate it. I do keep up with it as often as I can and stuff. I really do appreciate the time that you do in the effort. And I say this, everybody: if you don't want to sponsor me, sponsor this man. Sponsor Raw Silk, sponsor somebody. Get out there for people who are out there, because it's not about me. Although I tell people all the time, I love sponsorship dollars. I appreciate it. I got to pay Raw Silk something, but either way, I say this because I want people to be able to communicate and reach out to the people that's actually putting a foothold in the community. That's why I feel like we have every right to say something, because not just through our podcast work, but through our everyday actions and work in our communities, we're putting in that work. So I appreciate you for what you're doing, sir. Pray that you'll be here for another 200 years and things. And at some point in time, the city
you mentioned that you're old. You're older than me. I don't know if you are or not. How old are you, brother? What year were you born?
50 years old, sir. I'm 50 years old.
And I'm almost 80.
Yeah, I understand. Listen, when the state gives you your statue, make sure you call me. I'll give your speech, induction speech for you.
That'll work.
No problem. Raw Silk, before I close out, do you have anything to say, Queen?
No, I'm actually looking forward to going back and watching this show. And I'm definitely going to go to the website and the archives. I wrote that down. So I definitely want to see what's out there. It seems like it was very, very interesting. So I'm sorry that I missed it.
No, that's no problem. I'm debating.
Let me throw this out to people that are listening. If you want to get a complimentary ad on my channel, on my social media platforms, or my newspaper, just send me a note. And I want to demonstrate that it's easy for us to work together. We just have to want to do it. So I'm making an offer right now, right here, for Mr. LP and his fans, his base. If you have a business, I want to promote your business at no cost to you.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
the caveat is that if you feel something, then you do the same for somebody else. You support Mr. LP. You support
I think that's
yourself.
awesome.
That's what we got to do.
I appreciate that very much, sir. I'm posting. I want to make sure I got this straight here. Here we go. This your email?
Yep. Wrong phone number though. That phone number gets to a voicemail. But Al at InsightNews.com will get to me. And then Trina is my COO. Trina at Insight News. That gets to me. And the 612-695-0417 goes to our automated service. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Not a problem. Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to let you make the call, Mr. McFarland, before I close out. Should I play that video one more time, or let them we'll go back and watch it?
No, I think you should play it again. It was a good video. How long is the video?
It was 5 minutes, but I think it was worthwhile. All right. Check this video out. All right. I'm going to post it on my channel, but before I close out, watch this video, people.
Most families in America go to banks when they need money, but for many Black families, the bank has never been a partner. They denied our grandparents' mortgages. They redlined our neighborhoods. They gave us higher interest rates. They financed everyone else's future, while we had to fight just to qualify. So what happens? We keep going back, asking permission for money that should already be circulating inside our own families. Car loans, business loans, emergency money, college tuition, home down payments. Every time we borrow from a bank, wealth leaves our family and goes into someone else's pocket. Interest payments, late fees, loan fees, penalties, all draining our future. But wealthy families do something different. They don't depend on banks, they build family banks. A family bank means your family becomes the lender. Your family becomes the investor. Your family becomes the institution. Instead of paying interest to corporations, you pay interest back into your own bloodline. And over time, that money multiplies across generations. This is how families build real wealth, not with one paycheck, not with one investor, but with a system. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a family bank from scratch. Part 1, the problem. Banks profit from our need for money. That's the structure. When capital isn't controlled inside the family, we rent it from institutions. And renting money is expensive. Credit barriers, predatory lending, higher rates. The wealth gap isn't just about income. It's about who owns the bank. If we don't control the flow of capital, we stay dependent on it. Part 2. What is a family bank? A family bank is a pool of money owned collectively and used to fund homes, businesses, emergencies, investments, and education. The Rothschilds have a family bank. The Rockefellers have a family bank. The Waltons have a family bank. We need family banks too. Wealth begins small, but it grows discipline. Part 3, basic structure. Step 1, start the fund. 5 people contributing $50 per month equals $250 per month. 10 people contributing $100 per month equals $1,000 per month. That's $12,000 a year. Capital is built by retention. A family bank begins the moment money stops leaving automatically. Step 2, create rules. No rules equals no family bank. Who can borrow? What interest rate is charged? What are the repayment terms? What qualifies as emergency access? Structure protects relationships. Clarity protects trust. Step 3, Keep it separate. Treat your family bank like a real institution. Open a separate account. Track contributions. Keep written records. Discipline turns savings into strategy. Step 4. Lending rules. This is where the power begins. If someone borrows $5,000 and pays back $5,500, that $500 stays inside the family. Interest no longer leaves. It multiplies internally. Instead of enriching corporations, your family enriches itself. That is what makes a family bank transformational. Part 4. The power. Let's look at the numbers. Year 1, $12,000 saved. Year 5, $60,000 plus. Year 10, $120,000 plus. Most families could build a six-figure family bank within 10 years. And once that capital exists, it funds down payments, business startups, investment opportunities. Instead of asking permission, your family makes decisions. That is financial authority. Part 5. Advanced strategy. The wealthy insure themselves. The poor insure their cars. Adding cash value life insurance strengthens a family bank. Policies grow over time. You can borrow against them. The capital continues compounding while being used. Then invest. Index funds, real estate, dividend stocks. A family bank must grow because stagnant capital loses purchasing power. Most families leave their children bills. Some families leave houses. But the families that change history leave institutions. A family bank is more than money. It's protection. It's opportunity. It's independence. It's making sure the next generation never has to start from zero. And the truth is, no bank is coming to save us. We have to build our own systems. We have to finance our own future. We have to become the bank. If you want to learn exactly how to build a real family bank step by step, I wrote a complete blueprint that walks you through how to start your family bank.
I just think that was a great and powerful video to play. I also wrote a book on alternative investing within our communities, which for whatever reason, I'm still disturbed that our communities didn't come out to support it, and more so people contributed to try to ban me on Facebook and social media from it. I, to this day, cannot have an ad account because of that. I was banned because I promoted a book on alternative investing. Sad. But either way, we're going to make it push forward. Silk, what did you think about that video?
I absolutely loved it. And I'm glad that you played it. I loved it.
Thank you. I just think it's very important that we do what we can. But I want to close out and saying something very important, and it's not to cause hate or dissension or anything like that. I just want people to understand the importance of what we're talking about today, because it's vital. And hear me, please. Like I said before, there are about 24 Black-owned banks left in this entire country. 24. We went from 134 down. 134 some years ago to barely 20, while we spent over $2 trillion year after year, and we do not have, again, anything to show for it. This is not a money problem, family. It's not. We never had a money problem. It's a direction problem. A direction, yes. But we can fix it. We can start fixing it with discussions like today, encouraging our children to focus on what's important. Like Ross Silk said, the difference between need and wants, similar to the advice that Mr. McFarland explained. So here's what I need from you. Not next year, not when it's convenient, but this week, today, this weekend. Move one account. One. And trust me, you can go online and get it for $10 or $20. One account. I'm sorry. You can open accounts in a lot of other places, but still go to a Black-owned bank or credit union. Now, the credit unions in a lot of areas got different requirements of, where you have to work and live and those type of things. But, find a bank and a credit union. And I'm going to do you one better. I have a list, a spreadsheet of all the current banks and all the current credit unions, websites, phone numbers, and some branch managers' names throughout the country. I'm going to get that for you, and I'm going to post it online. If you want me to email it to you, please email me at enlivengm@gmail.com. I'm going to post our thing on here while I finish this. But yeah, email us at enlivengm@gmail.com. It's very important. But just try to get one bank account if you can, and pick one thing that you buy every single month and buy it from us if all possible. Buy it from us. And I'm not talking about the streaming apps because we don't own many of them out there. And please, not the ratchet stuff. But buy something from us. Attire, food, online, even though if it may be from Amazon, there's still a lot of Black-owned businesses on there, Walmart, trying. Do what you can to buy from us. And don't do it alone, because one of us is a story, but a thousand of us is an earthquake, is a movement. All disrespect, no disrespect to people in Venezuela. Prayers for you, for your earthquake. But this is what a 90-day collective is. If you could do this something for 90 days, you'd be surprised the mountains of change. Because all we did from Target is we spent the money in Walmart or some other place, and they Walmart rich. Their stocks go up. 90 days, one target, one direction, and see what happens when we're finally moving together as a unit. Now, yes, there are going to be some naysayers. I get it. But still, we have to move together. We are not poor. Let me say this again. We are not poor. We've never been poor. We just been generous to give everybody, give to everybody but ourselves. And that ends tonight. That ends now. And if you have trouble identifying that, please call me. Please reach out to me. Please reach out to Raw Silk or Mr. McFarland or any of our other past hosts. We'd be happy to explain it to you. So take that take that $2 trillion in the sound of my voice. Take that $2 trillion and aim it like a weapon and at our own future and fire it like no tomorrow. Like a game, like you go shooting at a gun range, a bow and arrow, whatever. If you're mad at something, you're mad at the politics out there, you're mad at Trump, you're mad at something not working for you, good, bad, and different. Whatever side of the spectrum of the political world you are. Social, you're mad at the schools. You're mad at the car. You're mad at the dealership. You brought something that was a bad deal. You want to fix that? Spend that dollar in the right direction. You're mad at the school? Go buy these Black books and education books. Boyce Watkins has these education workbooks for children. There's plenty of other ones for African American children. There's plenty online. Better yet, build your own and sell it. You can definitely do that. So just do what you can, because I love you. Whether I agree with you or not, I do love you, and I do believe in you. So now really take that opportunity to earn that dollar for your family and the community in the right way that can do something better. God bless you. We'll see you next Thursday. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to us at enlivengm@gmail.com. That's ENLIVENGM@gmail.com. And please feel free to comment after the show. We do respond. We do send messages and what have you. And thank you and have a blessed day. The rest of y'all stay with me for a moment, but thank you. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.